So I'm trying to spend a little bit of time with my wife, getting ready to go to a basketball game later today. So I got this call from the office and they was like, Steve, you got to help this person. You got to help this person. They got a default judgment. They didn't respond to the court summons that they had from a debt collector. They got a default judgment for over $14,000. They woke up and looked at their bank account. You know how you'll get your phone and you'll be like, let me see, make sure with my money, nobody mess with my money. And 14,000 plus fees. Their account was minus 14,000 plus fees. And so I was like, okay, they got the garnishment. Was it a default judgment? And then, they was like, no, Steve, you're not, listen to what she said. She didn't have $14,000 in the account. And I was like, okay, so they actually took money that she didn't even have in her account. And I was like, okay, I've had this situation happen once. It was not nearly that amount. It was in that little sweet spot where, you know how if you with your bank account, unless you have it to where you tell them, no, do not pay nothing if I don't have the money in it, that they'll kind of let you go over a little bit. That's what some account were doing. And there actually was a law put in place that said, don't do that, or give the owner of the account, your client, your customer, give them an opportunity to say, if I don't have it, I don't have it, and just decline the charge. This person woke up, looked at their account, and it was negative 14,000 and some change, a little bit more, and did not have even close. I think she said when we talked to her, she had about $1,000 in the account. And so now, what the hell just happened? So if you live in the state of Georgia, if you live in any state in the United States, but I'm going to specifically speak on this because it happened in the state of Georgia. So if you live in the state of Georgia and a creditor hit your bank account with the garnishment and suddenly your account went negative, I'm going to tell you the truth about this right now. That's illegal. Even though it did happen. And I'm going to go into detail about why it happened, but it's illegal. It's 100% illegal. This whole thing boils down to what I've always been saying, and I know sometimes people get upset because I repeat myself and they're like, Steve, you said this, but it doesn't really stick until it happens to you. When it happens to you, that's when it's like 100% it sticks, but the person doesn't listen. I mean, they're backtracking, they're cleaning up the mess rather than being proactive and not having a mess to have to go back and clean up with. Number one, the first thing before I get into what happened with this and also your rights and everything pertaining to something like this happening where they go into your bank account and take money, you cannot allow them to get a default judge. You have to respond to that court summons, even if it's with the original credit. The reason why is, if you just think about it this way, if someone is suing you and they file that summons with the court, file that lawsuit with the court, how many, this is, let me just go back to how it was when I was a kid, is they say, don't bring other people into your family business. Don't bring other people to your family business, because when you bring other people into your family business, then you have another eye that's looking at it, another eye with their opinion, another eye with their motives, everything. And now, I'm not saying that when it goes to court that you need to go and try to settle to not have the court be involved. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that if you're being sued by a debt collector, the court expects you to respond. If you don't respond, it's like you're having two people against you, the judge and the plaintiff attorney. And you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So banks in Georgia are not allowed to push your account below zero to satisfy a garnish. And today I'm going to show you exactly how you can get your money back, because this is like, I really do feel for this lady. I really do. So the first thing, creditors count on you not knowing the law. Creditors count on you not responding to the court summons. Creditors count on you just freezing and not doing anything. And I could just picture this. Years ago, this young lady got a summons served to go to court, and maybe she did or maybe she didn't go, or maybe she didn't even get served. It doesn't matter. I keep telling people, if you don't respond to it, if you know, in this one way you can know, a lot of people say, well, I didn't get served. They've changed the laws to where all they have to do is do proof of service. But here's one way you can know that you're being sued by debt collectors, because if you have another attorney send you a letter saying, oh, you're being sued, then you're being sued. You need to get down to the courthouse, be proactive, and get that summons. And you need to come back to us with Summons Master or do something yourself. But if you want to get it done right, you can come to Summons Master and we can take care of that for you. Or you can go over to the credit repair shop and get it taken care of. Because if you don't do anything, what they're going to do is they're going to garnish your wages. They're going to try to take assets, put liens on your property, and garnish your bank account, like what happened with this one. So, but let's stay on track here. Banks count on you not fighting back. But if your account went into the negative because of a garnish, you are entitled to a full refund of the money that took you over into the negative. Now, they may be able to keep the portion that you had in there depending on your exemptions. There could be certain requirements, but at a minimum, they would have to give that money back to the bank. Now, you might be saying, why did the bank do it? But the bank told her, and I've said this before in other videos, because I deal with this with clients, is that when they take that writ of garnishment into the bank, the number one thing that the bank is thinking about is being compliant with the court. The number one thing that the bank is thinking about is being compliant with the court. Like you could, let me catch my breath. Reason why I'm like this, because I talk about this a lot. I'm not saying that this person heard it, but there's a lot of stuff on here, and people are not helping people. All they're doing is, I guess, entertaining people. But when something like this hits a person, if you knew how the person reacted in the emotions that they went through, you would probably understand why I'm like with this video kind of all over the place. But I hope you appreciate it, because this is just, I gotta do this for people. So the bank is more focused on being compliant with the court order, even though the money came from the bank. Could you imagine this? They give the debt collector the money, and then what are they going to do? Come around and sue the individual for the amount of money that they didn't have? In essence, that they do a loan? This is crazy. So in Georgia, a bank garnishment is a snapshot. The bank can only freeze the money that is in your account at the exact moment that they receive the garnishment order. And that is a little bit suspect, because if they get the order and then they have an amount that they're supposed to be able to get, they can keep that order in place until they get that money. You might heard attorneys and other people tell you different. I help people where the attorneys told them that stuff and they were like, why did they tell me that, when they ended up coming back and being able to take more money? When my check got deposited into my account, they took that money. And then the next week or the 2 weeks later, they took that money, because I don't know, maybe they just don't deal with this a lot. When they put that order in there, that order is for an amount of money. It's not for one day. The bank cannot say that they took it out and that they're loaning you the money. They can't say that. Even if you didn't sign anything saying that they can't put you in a negative, they can't do that. They cannot take your future deposits for that, but we all know that they will take it, and they're going to put that person in a situation because they already can't fight. They already don't have any money. So what are they going to do? Go up against the big bank? See, they know how this stuff works, and they can't force your account into the negative. So if your account had $50 in it and they garnished you for $1,000 under Georgia law and under every other state law, I'm just using Georgia because this person that we spoke to yesterday was from Georgia. They can only take the $50. They cannot overdraft you. They cannot take the money that you don't have. They cannot drain your paycheck tomorrow to pay it. But let me just say this. They will do it. And when they do it, they'll be like, well, what are you going to do? You're the one struggling financially. What are you going to do? Go get an attorney? And then that attorney going to say, well, you got to pay me some money because it's not like a personal injury. And yeah, I do see violations with this, but I want to do business with these banks. I do business with you once, But if I want to do business with this bank because they're doing business with another firm and I do some work with that other firm, then there's a conflict of interest and I can't really work with you. I say this because this is the type of stuff that I hear every day. So now let's talk about how to get your money back. Step one is you need to demand a reversal from the bank. And you can't do this by going in there. They're going to just be like, we got a court order. You have to put these motions in place and file this with the judge. You got to file it with the collection attorney, and you got to file it with the bank. You got to let them know what happened. You have to state the law. This has to be formatted to be accepted by the court. It has to be formatted and served properly to the plaintiff attorney, and it has to be formatted and served properly to the bank's legal department, or you will not get your money back. They will frustrate the hell out of you. And if you go to an attorney to get this done, they're going to say they're going to want about $2,500 to $3,000 of money that you don't have. So this is the situation that I see people in, and what this person is kind of going through their mind right now is they're saying, well, if I reach out to an attorney in my area, $2,500 to $3,000 to take care of this for me. I only had $1,000 in the account, so if they get all the money back, I'm still going to be in the negative to the attorney. And no, they are not going, when they reverse it, they are not going to pay your attorney's fee. When they reverse it, they will not. People be like, I'm just telling you, it don't work that way. And I'm gonna probably have to start being more direct. Stuff does not work the way that people be saying it work. There's book ways, there's book knowledge, and then there's applied experience knowledge. And I'm here to tell you, they're not going to pay those attorney fees. That person's it's going to be like they just had to pay an attorney to get the situation reversed, and the attorney is gone with their money. So you got to do all three of those, and you have to do it the right way. And it has to get into each hand, and then you will get your money back. The debt collector is going to have to put that money back to the bank, and the bank will put a hold on the amount of money that you did have in there. And then you need to look at your exemptions. So once you get all of that back, then you need to look at your exemptions that you have in place for yourself. And it's different it's different state exemptions based on your income, based on exemptions of money in your account to be able to sustain yourself, pay your bills, and certain things. It's different for every state. And then there's federal exemptions depending on the type of income that you get, your age, all of this stuff. You need to research all of that. So if you find yourself in a situation like this, and I really hope you don't, but don't freeze. Contact us at thecreditrepairshop.com or summonsmaster.com. We will look at your situation, and we'll let you know how we can help you. Don't freeze. Don't let them just take the money that you don't have, and then the bank is going to end up suing you. So you're going to have two judgments against you instead of one. Crazy. Two judgments instead of one. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch video of what makes us different so you can see my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website yourorder3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you early in the game, you can grab my 3-pack of letters with statute of limitations, debt validation, cease and desist collection activities letter. You can also go to summonsmaster.com and just upload your debt collection letter, and it'll create an exclusive certified debt validation letter. If you're being sued by debt collectors, don't end up with a default judgment. You can go to summonsmaster.com and get a fully formatted court-ready response with a defense to help you win your case. Thank you for your time. Subscribe to the channel. Post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.